What's going on, guys? Welcome back, and may the 4th be with you. I knew I wanted to make some sort of video on this day that all of us have come to know as Star Wars Day, but I didn't know what I wanted to make it about until the idea popped into my head to elaborate on something that I alluded to in a post that I made a few months ago after the release of the first trailer for the TV series Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that is that I'm not really looking forward to the show, which some of you may consider blasphemy because there's an insane level of hype surrounding this show, but there's hype surrounding everything nowadays, and it's not like this is a new thing either, although that is part of it because my excitement for upcoming Star Wars projects has diminished considerably after the incredible disappointment that was the Book of Boba Fett. But I've just been skeptical of this show since we first learned what the premise of it was, and it's something that just seems kind of boring to me. So I've compiled several reasons as to why I'm very skeptical and not really looking forward to this show. Now, the first reason why I'm not really looking forward to this show is because from what we know about the behind the scenes, the production on this show has been very troubled. If you didn't know, it was originally going to be a film, but after the financial flop that was Solo: A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm figured that the Star Wars story movies would not do well financially, so they decided to change it and restructure it into a TV show, which is rather concerning to me, because typically when something is restructured from being a film into a TV show, it can feel like there's a lot of filler and as if it has been padded out. You guys get what I mean. It could feel like the story is unnecessarily dragged out. Beyond even that, at the beginning of 2020, the scripts for this show were completely rewritten. And that is once again very concerning, because when something like this is resided over and reworked or rewritten, it usually comes out rather messy in the long run. This series was also shot over the course of 4 months. I'm not kidding. I can't think of another film or show in recent memory that has seemed this rushed to me. By comparison, something like Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore took around 6 or 7 months to shoot, give or take, which meant that they had over a year to work on post-production. In this show's case, they've had about, 5 months to work on post-production. That's kind of scary. That means that they've had to polish up all of the effects and different aspects of the show in a very short amount of time. That's not good. The premise of this show is also something that doesn't sound exciting at all to me. From what we are shown in the trailers, this show is going to be about Obi-Wan Kenobi getting hunted down by the Inquisitorius. Great. Why should I care? We are shown 3 Inquisitors in the trailer, 2 of which appear in Star Wars Rebels, those being the 5th brother and the Grand Inquisitor. Rebels takes place about 9 or 10 years after this, because this show takes place 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. They both die in Rebels, so they're safe. Nothing can happen to them, and the 3rd Inquisitor we are shown in the trailer probably dies at the hands of Obi-Wan. It's not that difficult to piece that together. And nothing significant can happen to any of the major characters involved in the story. Obi-Wan, Vader, Luke, even Uncle Owen, because they can't change the status quo of what happens by the beginning of A New Hope. So why should I care if Obi-Wan got tracked across the galaxy by some Sith hunters for a couple days? It can also add nothing to the overarching story of Star Wars. That is because Obi-Wan's time spent on Tatooine is something that is not important at all, and it's extremely boring. In fact, the only time they ever bothered to explore that was in Rebels, when Maul confronted him there, but that was important because it was the conclusion to his character arc, and there's no better way to conclude Maul's character arc than to end it with the person who started it, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm going to show you a clip in a moment from Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, but before I do, I need to explain the context that led up to it. 20 years ago, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker fought each other on the lava planet of Mustafar, a duel that ended with Obi-Wan leaving him there to die. Anakin, or Vader, has had years to dwell in anger and isolation, building up his skills for the potential moment when he may eventually come into conflict with his old master once again.
I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
But what if I were to tell you that they actually fought each other 10 years before that, and Vader lost again? Who actually freaking cares? If watching the films in order, it is an extremely powerful moment, seeing those two characters interacting with each other for the first time in 20 years. But now this Obi-Wan show is adding unnecessary context to something that was already good. It does not add anything to the overarching story. If anything, it runs the risk of diminishing the impact of that original moment. Now, with that said, there are some things that give me a tiny amount of hope for the show, such as the fact that it is not set in the Mandalorian timeline of shows. If you don't know what I'm talking about, shows like The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka are all set in the same Marvel interconnected universe of TV shows, helmed by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, whose abysmal writing on The Book of Boba Fett ruined any prior investment I had in said interconnected universe of shows. Thankfully, they are not involved in Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is being written by different people, and it is being directed by Deborah Chow, who was responsible for one of, if not my favorite episode of The Mandalorian, Chapter 3, The Sin. Despite that, I don't think this show will be very good. I certainly don't wish for it to be bad, but it seems like yet another prime example of Hollywood's typical strategy of putting spectacle over story. So while seeing Obi-Wan and Vader fighting each other again may look visually cool, does it serve a purpose or add anything to the story? It seems like a pointless addition to the franchise that exists purely to nostalgia bait the audience into giving them money, because the only reason I've seen for people looking forward to the show is because Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are coming back, not because it will actually have any substance at its core. But you guys let me know. Do you agree with me this show looks pretty bad or mediocre, or do you disagree with me and think that this show looks really good? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know them all in the comments below, and of course, as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.